Welcome to this tutorial on binomial expansion, which you'll need in Core 2. Now, as you can see, I've written out NCR and started a question, but we'll start with the NCR first. Now, NCR is kind of the way you will need to remember binomial expansion, which is n is your number of trials and r is effectively the value you're trying to find. So 8c6 means you're looking for the sixth value on the 8th row of Pascal's triangle, because Pascal's triangle is basically all the C is doing. It's looking for the right numbered row and then it's looking for the value. Now, the reason why I've done it this way and I haven't given you the full formula, which is also available, is that the chances are if you are doing a binomial question you will need a calculator, and as it's a Core 2 exam you can have a calculator. So if you don't have a calculator in your Core 2 exam, you're a bit scuppered, and by a bit I mean majorly. So anyway, on with the question. Now I've picked 1 plus 2x to the power of 7. Now you would start by first doing 7c0, which is the first value. Then we have a coefficient of x, which is 2, so it's times 2 to the 0, and then times 1, which is our other number in the bracket, to the power of 7. Now this will give us an answer of 1, because it's 7c0, which is 1, times 2 to the 0, which is 1, because anything to the power of 0 is 1, times 1 to the 7, which is 1. So it's 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. And then we'll move, then we have our next one, which is 7c1, because the c, because our r value will increment by 1, which means also that that means the value of our coefficient of x will also increment by 1, but will also mean that the value of the integer will decrease by 1. So that turns to 14. Now you've also got to remember to put an x value on, because you're looking at powers of x. Now it doesn't matter so much for it doesn't matter for the first one because it's just 1, but you need to make sure that you always put the x value on the end of your binomial. So we'll move on. 7c2 times 2 to the 2 times 1 to the 5 equals 84x squared. 7c3 times 2 to the 2, which was 2 to the 3, times 1 to the 5 equals 280x cubed. Now, as you can see, it goes up quite quickly, but also the powers of x keep incrementing by 1. Now, the main things that you need to be aware of when looking at this is that, as you can see, as the r value increases, so does the power of the coefficient of x, and also the power of the integer decreases by 1. Should be to 1 to the 4, sorry. Decreases by 1 every time, and therefore you can see the trend developing, and if you wanted to go further you can see how you'd go further. So it'd be 7c4 times 2 to the 4 times 1 to the power of 3. But most of the time they'll only want you to do the first 4, maybe first 5 values, so you wouldn't really need to go any further than that. Now we can take another example if you'd like, and I think this would probably help illustrate a number of things, particularly if you don't like negative numbers, in which case, well, you're a bit doomed anyway. 1 to the x, 1 minus x to the power of 12. Now again, you'll see where we're coming from, 12, because 12 is the value outside the brackets. Sorry, make sure you can actually see that. 12 is the value outside the brackets. 12c0 times, what would it be, minus 1, because it's the power of, because it's minus x, minus 1 to the 0, times, or should I say minus 1 to the 12, because there is no power of x. How very odd of me. So it's just 12c0 times minus 1 to the 12. I'll just write that a bit clearer for everybody. Minus 1 to the 12. Because there is no power of x, but your 1 is effectively a minus because it's minus x. And this will give you an answer of, surprisingly, 1. 12c0, anything to the 0 in binomial is 1, and minus 1 to the 12 will be a 1, because minus 1 squared is 1, and keep going. Then we move to 12c1 times minus 1 to the 11, which is minus 12x, 12c2 times minus 1 to the 10 equals 66x squared, 12c3 times minus 1 to the 9, minus 1 to the 9 equals minus 220x cubed. So again, you can see the patterns. As the c value increases, your powers of the minus 1 also decrease by 1, but the other thing you've got to remember with a negative number is that it should go positive, negative, positive, negative, as you can see with 1 minus 12x plus 66x squared minus 220x cubed. So the main things to remember when doing binomial is make sure that whatever your n value is the power that is on the bracket. Make sure that you start at 0 and then slowly go forwards. If there is a power of x, then it's the same, then you have the power of that. If you have a coefficient of x, make sure that the power of that coefficient is the same as your r value, and if you have another number in the bracket, make sure to start multiplying it to the power of the bracket and then minus 1 each time. So basically any integer in the bracket follows the opposite way to any c values. Thank you very much for listening. I look forward to seeing you